Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Life in Depth. It's crazy to be back here. Okay, Life in Depth. Let me go ahead. Oh, there you are. I was just about to add you. Let me go ahead and add our guest tonight. Ooh, come on, tripod. Let me add you in. Sorry about that. Ooh, it won't let me invite you to join. So you might have to check your settings, Kwame. It won't let me. Ooh. Let's see if it'll work. So I just invited you. And if you don't see an invite, and if you can't join, you might have to go to your settings. Ooh. Okay, you're good. No, no worries, no rush. Comfortable. Life in depth. Yeah, I'm super excited to be back in this space. This was undecided if this was even going to come back, especially with everything that I've been through, but here we are. Here we are. The conversations on healing don't stop. Um, they just took a pause here on this platform. So we still been in it. Let me make sure too that my phone is on silence. Do not disturb instead. So tonight's conversation is going to be with Kwame Harris, CEO and founder of Pushing the Generations Forward, and author, Bellin, fellow author. Super excited about this conversation and all that it has to offer. Let me make sure it's inviting, though. Oh, let me invite him again. My little guy's out there with daddy. Hey, aw, thank you, Bellin. Should I just do my phone? Ooh, yeah. Let's see. Is it not inviting you, Kwame?
I think this works. Okay.
Ah,
Okay.
perfect. How are you?
I'm good. What's up,
Reunion
roommate?
for us. It's been years. It's been years.
Oh, wow, it's been a while, right? Oh,
Because I was just thinking about it before we hopped on, and it's 2023. We done graduated college. That was 10 years ago.
don't say that. Don't say that out loud. Like, don't tell people that. Like I'm still kind of
But
holding on.
that's just the wisdom. That's the experiences we've gained. That's the experiences we've gained. And it's so funny because I didn't even know like the field of work you were in.
Yeah.
And then TJ was like, have you come across Kwame? Like he's kind of doing similar work to you. And I was like, what? Let me check his page out. Oh no. I was like, I gotta hit him up to be on Life in Depth. I've gotta hit you up.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. And I was following your story. Like, I've always followed you and TJ. Like,
Yes.
is y'all good people.
Yes.
And I was, following your story too as well. Until reach out to TJ, I was like, yo, I'm praying for your wife.
Mm.
Just I didn't know you were going through any of that. Like it was like random. Like I see you doing stuff, and then TJ was posting about it. I was like, oh wow. And so
Yeah.
we're praying for you.
I appreciate you. I appreciate that so much. And that tells me that universe, God, whatever higher power was like, oh, we got to link them back up. We got to connect them back up. Because it's been so while, like, it's been a while since either of us have talked to you.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I was super excited. Like, I'm glad that things unfolded the way they unfolded. I thank God that everybody prayed for me. I appreciate from the bottom of my heart all the prayers because something lifted me up. Something got me out of that hospital and put me back where I am and put it 10 times more powerful to my testimony, to my life.
yeah, yeah. And here we are. And we are.
Here we are tonight, Life in Depth, finally back, episode 11, Kwame Harris, CEO and founder. How does that sound? How does that feel?
Man, it feels great. You know, like the idea of this whole thing happened like years ago, and to have those things into fruition, I'm like, damn, like no, look how far I've become, but also look how far the work is, how I've understood the work and how far I've pushed it along. Be in a position to lead people, lead others, and give and drive change
Mm,
and have impact.
mm.
It's like it's far beyond what my reach or what I thought was going to be 6 years ago.
I
So
love that. I love that. And it's so funny because I resonate so much with that, especially like lately, just like, man, it's really crazy, I think, to see your life work change others. And that is the definition of success for me personally. It was never about the money when I had the idea for women's coaching. It was just like, damn, if I could save another woman from this dark space that I've been to, just by, sharing what I've been through and try to uplift her in any way and support her any way possible. And that's when I realized we have similar drive. We have a similar drive to our passion. It's to pour into others.
it's crazy you say that, and I'm like jumping right into the book, like, and this work, and like, because like one of my ways of understanding how much my impact played into who I am today, I think about when I jumped into the field of youth development, and I was like, I saw some of the cycles of trauma, some of the same cycles of things that that I was experiencing, that I experienced growing up, and see these young people had that same experience, and so like pushing the generations forward for me was like, yo, I need them to have something that can help them push past trauma, help them push generational curses, help them push past those, the oppression, help them push past like whatever they're doing in their life. I was like, I gotta write this book. I gotta do this work because I need them to have this as a guide to let them know that they can push past all of the things that they've encountered in their life, but not just in their own family, but in their immediate family, and not just in their immediate family, the things that they experience. That they can help with their extended family do, but also looking at the bloodline, the generational line is like, you know what? I can do something different. And that's why, and so like, kind of what you just said, like,
Yeah.
it's a reciprocating thing
Yeah.
for me as well.
Yes, that's exactly it. Oh my gosh, yes, the reciprocity. And that's funny because that word keeps coming up everywhere lately. And it's just like, that's it. Like if I don't feel received in a space, if my work don't feel received in a space, that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
But I ain't gonna force where my flow ain't supposed to go. And it's like what you said. That's why I can't wait to get my hands on this book.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pin that in the comments right quick. Pushing the Generations Forward is Kwame Harris' book. And tell us a little bit about it.
It's right here. I have one.
Ooh, there it is. There it is. Hold it up.
It's about the book is really about like what the title talks about, really like pushing generations forward. What it's about is like, how can we find purpose through life? Because we understand tough life is hard, and for whoever you are, like, you're going to experience trauma in your life. I don't care right where you're from, you're going to experience trauma, right? And how do we all of that, and knowing all the things that happen in life, how do we use that, or how do we take that as a mechanism to fuel how we move forward, right? And so, like, for me, one of the biggest things I saw in my family, like, just some of the things that, you know, a perfect example is I'm a first generation college student.
Yeah.
You know, first
Yes.
generation,
Yes.
you know, and what we, you know, what comes with being a first generation college student, there's so much uncertainty, there's so much, you know, loss, there's so much confusion, there's so much of just, we don't know what to do, right?
Yeah.
But I understood that the first generation college student was me pushing the generations forward, because what I wanted to do was, I wanted to, as I look back on my ancestors and I realized that no one had done this, and that education is linked to economic empowerment. And being said, I gotta go to college, and I gotta to do that. I gotta be the person to lift myself up by my own bootstraps, and I did that. And because I developed the mentality of pushing generations forward, I could have easily given up. Right? I'm sorry. I had to develop the mentality of pushing generations forward, because in my life, and based on what I was seeing growing up, or was seeing in my family line, like, it was just easy to give up than to obtain those things. And so when you adapt the mentality of pushing the generations forward, you understand that everything you do matters for the next generation. And I want to make sure that my children see a first generation college student in their family. To make sure that they see my children have someone who you know, who makes a substantial income. You know, all those things that I didn't see growing up as a professional. I want to make sure that my children will never have to experience not seeing those things. You know, and where I this trauma and generational curses in my family line, I'm going to make sure I do that, right? And that's a part of pushing forward, and that's my mindset, and that's what drove me to write the book, and because I wanted to be a generation changer.
I love this. I'm just taking this all in because this is powerful. Like, first of all, to just hear you speak on it on that level too. Like, you said, I don't want my children to not experience this in their lifetime, because you also said too, like, there's a fear of not knowing and this and that, being a first generation college student, because we have never seen what a successful college grad looks like. We don't know what financial stability looks like.
Nope.
And we don't know also what sometimes repair in relationship looks like. It can start as simple as that.
Yeah.
And like, that's what it is for me and TJ with the boys. Like, if y'all ever catch us having some words together, we're going to sit you down and be like, look, yes, we had a disagreement about something. Y'all should not have seen us having that disagreement, but you did. And here's why. And we apologize, because you can't just like brush it off and ignore.
Yeah.
And act like things didn't happen. Like, they need to know why, like, this is being said, or why did mom and dad get at each other like that. And also, like, man, yeah, I'm just,
Amazing.
the work is so aligned. The work is so aligned.
And you know, it's crazy because, like, when you think about pushing generations forward, like, you automatically think about like, this is going to be, you have to pass on some financial millionaire status, and that's not it, right? That's not, it's part, like, it'd be great, right? Everyone can benefit from that, but like, pushing generations is lessons like that. Like, how did my parents effectively communicate? Because, you know, some of us, you know, we just didn't talk about it. We just, you know what, it happened, but we just want to ignore like it didn't happen. Like, no, but that,
like I said,
exactly, but it hurts. Like, you don't know what's going on, it hurts. Like, so part of that lesson of pushing generations forward is like, no, we're going to talk about it. And no, like, I know what we did in our past and what past families have done, but that stops here now. And we're going to actually educate and show what a healthy relationship looks like, and do that through these lessons. And so, like, even in that moment that you and TJ are like, you know what, we're going to talk about it, we're going to have a discussion, you're pushing generations forward. It's simple as that, right? Think about the impact that has, not just on, you know, you and TJ, but that impact, what that will have on you and on the boys, because now they're growing up understanding what communication looks like, what healthy relationships look like, And then, you know
Yes.
what I'm saying? And then they're going to grow up and pass that same knowledge and that same healthy trait to their children. And
That.
so understanding that everything we do matters to the next generation.
Oh, that. Oh, Muja, she said, wow, this is super soul food. Ashe, yes, Muja. I'm glad you came in for it, babe. Yeah, you know what? That's true. That's true. That is really the $1 million lesson is the lessons
Mm-hmm.
that we instill, because it's like that is going to continually lift up through generation and generation, raising the vibration higher and higher and higher every time. And when you're passed down those lessons, as opposed to like, oh, try to do this, try to do that. Nah, make everything align with what you want to live. Like, it's gotta all, like, I'm here for this, Sister Chills. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's like you said, like knowing healthy communication, because if we had seen that growing up, think where we would be now at our age. And so think of where they'll be at their age, because y'all already know and have this foundation, a strong foundation of what healthy boundaries and relationship and communication look like, as opposed to trying to figure this all out and focus your energy on all that, when you could be focusing your energy on something else. Like, just,
Yeah.
ooh,
You know,
you also said, you said something too about like when you first like were going to college, when you first got to college, and like you didn't know what that looked like for you. And that is literally like, it hit me that like you were living Push the Generations Forward before it happened.
yeah,
And that's why your testimony, like that is your testimony, because it led you up to Push the Generations Forward, because you was already doing it.
yeah.
And now you've aligned with soul purpose out here. Look.
And, and that's true. And oftentimes, especially when you're taking on the mentality of push generations for, you don't know what you're doing, right?
Oh,
Like that's why the purpose, your purpose has to be like with my purpose. It's like I know that my purpose is I gotta find purpose through understanding that my children's children will never have to experience what I had to experience or endure what I had to endure.
mm,
That's like you just said. I had to spend every single day and every single thought and every single action going towards that purpose. Like it's not waking up like it's an accident. I'm waking up towards that purpose. I think what about too as well is what's also a part of pushing generations forward. I think a lot of times we don't really pass this down, especially in communities of colors and communities of color.
mm,
Pass it down.
that part.
We don't talk about healing,
That part.
right? We don't talk about. We don't help. We don't teach our children how to heal, right?
Mm,
Trauma from the pain, from the hurt, right? And we gotta start. And I think as far as what I'm trying to do is understanding what does healing look like for me, and
mm,
how can I healthy avenues or healthy tools of healing to my children, because I don't even have children yet, but I know that they will experience things in life that they will need healing from. And maybe not what I'm gonna make sure that we
that
cut that off.
part. Yes.
And so, but like, how do we pass down healing to our children? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, life's tough,
Whew.
you know.
Muja just said, this is deep, especially coming from a man. Speak on that part, sis, because also you just touched on it too, a man of color.
Mm-hmm.
Because this, it's leading me back. It's making me think of my dear friend Sobek, who came on. Brother Sobek, he is from my hometown, doing very similar work as you, doing breath work like myself, and giving it to the Black community, giving the healing to the community that has been so suppressed from it. Because for me, growing up as a minority in that area that I grew up in, it's important to my heart to see my hometown friends come up the way I come up.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody, it was a place where if I was hanging out with my Black friends, if these white kids at this school saw it, they was too good for me. They wouldn't talk to me. And when I realized that, when kids realize that and experience injustice, you can either wake up to it, and we can bring these conversations to our parents, even though, like you said before, they're uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Because going into breaking generational curses, it's uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Because we also have not experienced breaking these generational curses, because we are the black sheep of the family. And so it's like, for our parents, just Dr. Shelley touched on this in our session on Sunday, like for our parents to see us growing, they get to experience growth through us because they are us. And it's making me think of you talking about the ancestors. Like, we never saw what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that alone, we're still out here winging it,
Mm-hmm.
but we're winging it towards a good way. We're winging it towards what feels right to us and what we want to see thrive in the world.
Yeah. And what aligns to our purpose, right? Right? That aligns with my purpose. And I think, Dr. King had I remember like he had one of his famous speeches, or what I think one of his famous speeches was, he talked about, he was giving his mountaintop speech, and he said in the speech is like, I may not get there with you. And it's like what he saw versus where he was two different things, right? Or they were two different things, but what he saw was the very thing that will impact generations and generations to come, right? And so I said about this in the book. I was like, when you take on the mentality of pushing generations forward, you may not, you will never see the fruits of your labor, the full fruits of your labor. But like, when you impacting generations and generations and generations, you probably won't. You won't. You know what I'm saying?
This is so, oh, bro, this conversation is so aligned. I can't even tell you. I was just telling a client on Tuesday, she has a big vision. She has a big vision, man. And she was like, my thing is that, like, how far will I get in my lifetime? I said, that's not the point. You are starting it. And you are the ancestor that has started it, and the future generation gonna finish it. And you came to mind because I was like, how aligned is this that we've got to talk, pushing the generations forward?
Yes.
And this is coming up. I'm like, that's the soul work right there. Your book is the soul work out here. So if y'all look, hit up the link in his bio, because I know I am. Like, I'm eager to read it. I'm eager just hearing more about it and like what pushed you, because once again, this kind of word coming from a man now is so big, because it's so powerful for our children to see that, like, oh, it's okay for men to talk about what they're going through and how they feel and how to get through it, because not a lot of men out here doing that. And that's why these boys don't have no guidance.
And it's crazy, because I talk about, like, and this is the most, when I wrote the book, and some of my friends who read it are like, and there's one particular point that there was one particular point that they will always point out in the book. And it was, in the book, I talk about toxic masculinity. And I didn't address it like, I addressed it with the emotions. And one of them always came up in the book, and you were reading the book, is my story about me playing football. And like, and like, right? And so, of course, my friends,
being in college,
the manliest mans would come out and have something to say about that.
Yeah.
And it was like, he was doing a drill. We were doing a drill, and basically you had to like go up against like so many people. And I'm a freshman, and these big ass seniors who were like 6'4", 300 and some pounds. And I'm just like this trying. I wasn't small, but I was like this little small kid in ninth grade who didn't know what was going on as a freshman, 14 years old. And and so I'm going up against all these, just hitting, like pounding my head against everybody, and I knew at some point I had a concussion. And right, yeah, and I was like, I definitely have something wrong with me. Am I like something? I'm blurry, everything, but I felt like I had to keep going in order to show that I was tough, that I was, that I gotta be a man in this moment and toughen up.
Oh,
the crazy thing is like what was more appropriate for me as a man is to be able to say, I'm hurt, I'm not doing this anymore.
yes.
But I was so scared of people saying that I wasn't gonna be tough enough, or I wasn't tough, or I didn't, I'm not like good in football, whatever else, is that I put my own health
Mm,
at risk to satisfy the status quo of being tough or being a man.
mm,
And and that's toxic masculinity at its finest, right?
that
And
part.
that lesson for me was just like, yo, a man can say, I'm sad,
That,
like a man, that really hurt me.
mm,
A man, I feel like I'm in a cave right now. I feel like I'm depressed. But like,
mm,
that's the whole point of that chapter, is really for us to be able to talk about, like, yo, fellas, we gotta have a conversation about our mental health and
mental health.
our well,
Mm,
because like we're not able to operate without taking care of ourselves mentally and emotionally, And so, but I think, and that's also a part of pushing the generations forward. Like,
wow.
like from like that healing takes place when we acknowledge that we have emotions, and when we have emotions, it also acknowledges that we can do something, that we can actually feel good about having emotions. Like, it's not
Mm,
a bad thing to have emotions.
yes.
That emotional regulation piece.
That that is powerful, and that is so powerful because who you said that's literally us fearing judgment. And so then thinking like, all right, I gotta suck it up and just have this concussion. I just gotta suck it up. And it's crazy because wow, everything is so aligned. I had just seen something in my timeline pop up about, the head of the household can only take care of everybody else under them how they're taking care of themselves. If you ain't taking care of yourself, you sick, everybody else gonna get sick. And that, when you think of it comparable to like, okay, what if we all shifted and tried to live the best we could and be our best selves? Think of how far that could take us. Because if it can make everybody sick, it can make everybody wealthy and healthy and thriving.
Mhm.
And so we got to start thinking of it that way, as like expressing yourself so that you ain't holding something in for years and years and years till it want to bust out.
Mhm.
Because as as humans, men are humans.
Yeah.
They are capable of these feelings.
Mhm.
And so to tell a boy that he shouldn't be doing this, or toughen up is something you said too.
Mhm.
Toughen up is a big one that especially our generation, when we were kids, boys heard that all the time. Toughen up. Oh, toughen up. Or like for me, they would be like, smack a smile on your face before I do.
Mhm.
Like, whoa, when you really think about it, you said
Yeah.
what to me,
Yeah.
parent? Because
Yeah.
it's not okay. And when a child says something is not okay, and that's where, like, for my testimony personally, is like my childhood abuse. Like, when somebody says something's not okay, I don't care how big or small they are. It is not oh, Daisy girl. Hey, some of these comments. Wow, Sister Truly said, we have to be generous and teach all our children a better world. That part, Bellin. And that's, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is like, no matter how big, how small, you should be able to express your feelings and what you're going through and not feel like you got to hold it in for XYZ.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's the real pushing the generations forward. I love that. I love that you shared that and that you got vulnerable in the book in that way, because sharing parts of your own testimony is it.
Mhm.
Like, it's going to have somebody reading like, dang, I experienced exactly what he experienced. And there's going to be somebody that experiences healing through that.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty and the good work.
Yeah. And that's the point. Like, there's a you know there's an old African saying. Well, there's a tribe in Africa. It's a tribe in Africa called the Mambi tribe. I think the Nasi tribe. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
One of their practice is, when they go say hey to look, say, in America it was like hey, you would say, and I'll say how are you, right? That's our formal greeting. But in Africa, there's a thing that, instead of saying, hey, how are you? They would say, hey, and how are your children? It's called Consiri Ngiri.
Ooh.
And how are you, like, based on how you are, I can tell based on how you are, is based on how your children are, right?
Mm.
That, to that point is like, well, but if your children are doing well emotionally, that means you're doing well emotionally. If your children are doing well physically in all those places, that means you're doing well. That means you're doing. If your family is doing well, um, if you're doing well, that means you're doing well, right? And so, random times you ask yourself, and how are my children? Like how are not just my immediate, but like think about the world and how are our children? And you also said something.
That part, not just my children, how are children in general? You you
Right?
just touched me right there, because I swear kids, like, that is another calling for me. I don't know where Mishak. Hi. That is another thing for me. I feel being called to work with children more. I mean, I nannied before we started a family, and just to see the impact that I was able to have on the family that I nannied for 6 years back in Virginia, like, y'all are like family now. And like the fact that y'all have core memories with me and that I could impact y'all in some kind of way means something big, because as a child, I just always wanted to like connect and understand people. And it's through healing
Mm-hmm.
within the family, in front of the family, in front of the kids, having them conversations in front of them children.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the
Yeah.
real healing is.
Yeah.
When you exposing it all. And it's funny because you said that, and my grandma said something to me recently. She said, you know how I could tell y'all give everything y'all can to them children? The smiles on their faces. I literally broke down crying. Quamine, oh, from the matriarch of my family too, to come from her. She raised me for quite some time in my life, and I was like, that's my purpose. It's so funny because like you said, like, that is my purpose, is to like take what I lived and expose it,
Mm-hmm.
give it to somebody, because my heart, that's somebody's medicine.
Yeah.
Right there, literally.
Yeah.
And your heart, your story, your life, your testimony, that is somebody's medicine.
Yeah.
Right there. That's generational medicine, is what you out here handing out in that book.
I love it. And Gary, and how are your children? Like, because I think we live in, like you said, we live in a world where like everything's about like, left, right, and conservative and liberal, and
What about
make this.
the gray area?
What
Club.
about? What if we as a nation decided to ask ourselves on a daily basis, and how are our children? Like, what policies are we putting in place to make sure that our children's children benefit from it? Like, what are we doing to make sure that we are setting our future, our children up for a bright future, where we understand mental health? What are we doing where we understand, where we can say as men, hey, yo, I feel depressed and I feel like I'm in the camp. Like, what if we get to that point and we all jump around and offer support that way? What if we get to the point where, where we call out toxic masculinity, and we say, no, what if we what if we got to those points in our lives where we're really thinking about what a better future will look for our children, right? Because then I guarantee you, if we take that as a center approach, and not just my children, but the children as a whole, if we take on that approach, we actually will make this world a better place.
That part. And see, there's something my best friend says. She calls her the advocate. She calls herself the advocate for kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that, because she's always like, not just my kids,
mm-hmm.
all the kids.
Yeah.
Because that's where the true medicine lies, is like sharing it, just not with me, but with you. Like, and that's what I just said this week too. Like, my abundance is also your abundance.
Absolutely.
Because if I see you as family, if I see, and that goes for you, that goes for anybody,
Yeah.
Anybody here to receive, like, my abundance is your abundance, because I'm trying to lift up the next person beside me.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to see nobody struggle, because I know what it's like to struggle. And ooh, it just hit me. Londrell's song, I know the struggle, I know both sides.
Mm-hmm.
That part in that song hits so hard,
Yeah.
because it's like, I grew up in poverty. I grew up as a minority, and I'm thankful for it. I'm so thankful I got the opportunity to feel that, because it also changed the trajectory of my life. And to have had my grandma, who experienced injustice like that, who experienced not getting to have black friends or this or that, she made a point to make me and my brother travel with her and my granddaddy and see the world and see other cultures and see other religions. And that, I think that is what it is with me, because I it's not just one religion for me. I say love is my religion, and there's a reason for that, because it's like universal healing. It's just like universal healing. I feel everybody deserves a chance to heal. And that's what you're giving. Every person has their own gift, and in that gift we can supply our corner of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that all adds to the collective healing. And that's what you're doing. Like, as you were speaking, it hit me that, like, you're literally doing what you want to see, because you were like, when are we going to be a society that brings this, and man is okay to say, like, I don't feel safe, I'm having harmful thoughts, and
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. Now is the time, because you're bringing that out to everybody. Like, we are here to change it.
Yeah.
If this conversation resonates with somebody and you ain't changing, you feel like you're on the verge of finding your purpose, dig deep, pray, put that in your heart space, and ask divine to bring it to you. Ask divine for clarity, because
Yeah.
if you're doing the inner work, the time is now.
You know, and I think, and someone said, I think it's
Ooh.
also Spaces said it's lonely at the top. I think I know what she means by that, or that person, what that person means by that, because it is. It really is. And like
Mm.
earlier, like when you are a trendsetter, when you are taking the generation to the next level, there won't be a lot of people, in my case, who look like you, who think like you, and who have the same mentality, or same thing, who have the same mentality. And but that's all no reason, right? Because but the next generation will benefit from you standing there, from you standing there and being in the gap for the lack of what you see, the lack of who you are. And so, you know, I definitely resonate with that mentality, because it is lonely at the top, lonely in the spaces that you've never seen people at, and it's worth it. It's worth it, because
Ooh,
who will, you
touch
know?
on that. Yes.
If you don't, who will? Like, and I'm talking about in the book, like, if you don't push generations forward,
Mm.
can we afford to wait for another 100 years for that next person to decide they're gonna make a better generation? And the answer is no, you know. And so it has to start with you, because your generations are depending upon it.
Mm. I'm taking that in, because that was a whole word. He
Yeah.
said, is it worth it to wait a whole nother 100 years for somebody to heal that, or for somebody to do that work?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
It ain't worth another day.
Yeah,
It ain't
exactly.
worth another day.
Exactly right.
I love what you said right there. That is crazy, because that puts it into perspective. And also, when she said it's lonely at the top, and as you started talking, it hit me that, like, we're sitting here talking about, like, being first generation college and this and that, and how we were, like, confused, because, like, what does that even look like? What does college look like? What is this life even like? You don't even know that's possible for you. And so, how do I navigate that? And it hit me that, like, that's also the lonely space,
Mm-hmm.
because even though we don't see it as growth,
Mm-hmm.
that is growth, sir,
Yeah.
because we're stepping out of the box that society has put you in.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I know there's something bigger for me. I don't really know how to navigate it, but I'll figure it out along the way. And that's currently what we're doing as well, too. Like, it is lonely at the top, because you are navigating as you grow.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned that too, because I was like, yeah, that was exactly where when we stepped on foot on the college campus, you know, no books, and couldn't afford books, couldn't afford, you know, and I had to borrow people books, you know, and didn't have laptops, none of those things, and like, you do feel lonely. You do feel like that this has only happened to you, and it's not, right? But that's the way you feel.
And
And
especially, I want to say too, at Ferrum.
mm-hmm,
Ferrum, to be
mm-hmm,
precise. I just want to point out that we went to a private
yeah,
college. I just want to point out that
yeah,
because I went straight from little old hood Roanoke, Virginia, Fleming, non-accredited high school, gated up to like, man, all these people got money and look at your car and look at that laptop and like, I don't know how to fit in here, but I'm here. And so how do I navigate it?
mm-hmm,
And that part can be intimidating as well. And I
mm-hmm,
don't think a lot of people speak about that.
yeah. But look,
Indeed, navigating as you grow.
but that moment was necessary. This moment, you know,
Ooh.
that being that alone makes me proud to this for me to like, you know what? I'm glad I adopted the mentality of pushing generations forward because, my children, I would never send my children to a private school ever again. Alone, I didn't know any better, right? I didn't know any better about like what the hell's a private school
Right,
versus a public.
right. I just applied and I was like, all right, let's roll with
They
it.
said, okay, I'm coming, play football, whatever.
I didn't even know, like, oh, dang, they got debt like this big for that kind of school.
Yeah, it's like for what we got versus what we got versus how much we owe. I don't know. I'm still figuring that part out. But I think that it's just like, but my children will never. They will know what a private institution is versus what a public institution is.
Mm.
Like they'll know how to navigate when they walk on campus. They'll know how to navigate
They'll know
everything they need to know.
credit. That's one thing for me too. They'll know credit. They
Yeah,
will know that like credit cards ain't evil. You can have a credit card, but you just got to know how to use it.
yeah,
You got to know how to use that.
Oh yeah, financial literacy. I think is healing in itself. Like once you know how the game is set up, once you know be a little
Mm.
bit more methodical. Once you know how to use money and how
Mm.
to use someone else's money to get to where you want to get to in life,
Mm.
because a lot of times what we go through, is lack of. But if you can figure out, you can pass, ways to your children on how to obtain things responsibly, but also morally, I think you're some key knowledge there too as well. Like I love what someone also said too as well, like yoga and the class in preschool. Like what we teaching kids mindfulness in preschool? I didn't
Yes, look, Talon, our oldest, he came home from school one day and I said, what was your extra today, baby? He said, gym. I was like, oh, cool. What did y'all do? He said, we were breathing. And I was like, hold up, y'all was doing breath work?
yeah,
Like, and he was like, yeah, we do that at school in yoga. And I was just like, let me find out.
right,
Okay, let me
right.
check into elementary school because I love that. Like, I remember first starting to like get into yoga and even some of my family was like, oh, yoga, like, ain't that taboo? Are you a Buddhist or what? Back up. I'm just being mindful with my body and my breath and this and that. And it's so funny because that right there is just a sign of like what you grow up around. They are only giving what they're given. Nobody was handing out yoga.
Mm.
Nobody was. They leveling up. Look, that part. I recently posted one thing on a carousel and it said, level up so hard they got to get to know you again.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where I'm at.
Level up so hard they got to get to know you again. I love that. I'm still down. I'm definitely still down.
Please do. Put it in your next book because I'm like, I love this. I've enjoyed this conversation. I think you're going to be back for sure. We're going to have to continue this because there's so much more to be said and just so much more about the work you're doing in the community, like giving it back to the community you're in and starting to speaking in person, like sharing the work on a different level that it needs to be shared. And that's what I'm about for. And that's what my idea was for Life in Depth. I want to have conversations that people are uncomfortable with and that people ain't having these conversations, but people are curious about these conversations because ain't nobody having them.
Mm.
And I was like, you know what? That's what my vlogcast is going to be like. And I've been honored to have your time and energy on here.
Absolutely. It's been amazing. Like, it's amazing to see your journey, and period, but also when from Fairlands College campus to where we are now, and then like it's coming full circle. The conversations, and just know I'm watching. Just know I appreciate what you're doing, and excited to see you grow, and excited to see where you take it to the next level. It's amazing.
Thank you, King. Thank you, Ashe. Look, for both of us, I reciprocate that, and I send it back because I'm eager to see where you're gonna go with this, like, and just where the book is gonna go. I see you having a thriving family, and I'm excited that we can, like you said, have these conversations and also heal in this way together, because once again, my abundance is your abundance. You got life questions when them kids come, y'all call us. Be like, TJ, I need that daddy advice.
Come get him. Come get him. Come get him. I can't do it.
Let's trade. Look, what weekend y'all watch these kids, we'll watch y'all kids.
Older kids. When
That part.
they get up of the age, boy, I tell you, when they get the lower ages, it's like, oh.
That part. And I swear, it's like, even though the boys got 5 years in between them, I feel like y'all are closer than that because y'all be fighting back and forth a little too much. I'm just like, how is this possible already that y'all like fighting over toys? I'm like, let's stop. There's enough for everyone.
Good luck with that. I'll get them when they're.
Look.
I do it. I can't do it.
When they know how to share.
Yeah. I'm good. That's too much. You teach that part, and then I'll get them to the other parts. Yeah.
I love it. Oh, Meshach said, good stuff. Bella, and much love. This was truly a blessing to experience. Oh, Muja, thank y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Yeah. I look forward to whoever catches the replay. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If y'all got questions, put them in the comments. We'll come back and answer them. So fulfilling. Thank you again, and enjoy your night.
Y'all check out the book. Y'all pushing the generations forward. Check us out. Doing some great work over here. So,
and I was gonna say, I got the name of the book pinned still. Head over to his page for the link in bio, and I'm also, once we get off of here, I'll share this to my stories, and I'm gonna add the link there in case any of y'all want it.
Also, t-shirts. Got some t-shirts, y'all.
That part.
I need you to get t-shirt. I need you to get a t-shirt. Let them know that we out here pushing generations forward. We are doing our thing.
Me and TJ gonna get the swag so we can model it for y'all, and I'm gonna tag the page as a collaborator.
Appreciate it.
No. Oh my God.
What you say?
These got kid size shirts.
We do, yeah.
It just hit me. We need the whole fam in like a photo shoot.
I got you. I promise you. I'll send you what you need. Let me know.
All right. We on it.
All right.
So glad to support. Y'all go support. Follow him if you don't already, and tune into the magic that he is bringing.
Thanks, y'all.
All right. Appreciate you, Kwame. Have a good one.